In my restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill. I promised I'd take you there one day. So let's try to meet up here. The fog's making it a little hard to see everywhere, but still seems the same kind of town that I remember. Let's try to meet up the Mexican restaurant. Yeah, hold on, wait. Sorry, I got the map open right now. There's 2 Mexican restaurants here? So go past the Mexican restaurant. Neely's Bar seems like a good place for us to meet up. So I'm gonna head over there. Neely's Bar, across the street from the grocery store. Okay, I'm gonna pop over to the grocery store. I'm gonna get something real quick, and then we'll meet at Neely's Bar. I'm gonna pick up something. I want to meet you over there. Hopefully they don't mind if I bring any outside food into the bar. You know how places are. But come and meet me here, so I can show you this beautiful town, beautiful, magical. What the? Sorry, it was just like it looked like a dog, but the dog had something wrong with his head and had no sharp fangs, and you would think a dog would have. What the hell is that? Alright, whatever. Anyway, it's a really great place. I can't wait to show you this place tonight. Come and find me here at Silent Hill. Also, key S, just take the path from the graveyard. Just try to keep your eyes peeled. This place is a little weird when the fog gets this thick. PSS, you might as well just go ahead and bring a gun. Just a heads up, just bring a gun. Not that this place is dangerous, but you never know, because it's just how it goes. But that's all the extra bedrooms I have for this thing. No, wait, PSSS. Go ahead and bring a monkey wrench. You never know when you're going to be in a monkey wrench in this kind of situation. But yeah, see you when you get there. Sincerely,
Now we can talk.
All right, okay, now do that same thing that you just did. Do the thing, come on. Hands in your face.
2 remake, post-talk. Holy shit, that is such a great game. Holy shit, that is a really, really good game.
You saw why I came over like the next day being like, dude.
Yes, no.
Oh my God.
I completely understand why you came over and you were so ecstatic about that game. And I'm so happy it came out. It took us a little bit. It honestly took me a little longer, about a month for us to get through 17 hours of game.
17 hours a game.
17 hours a game. But like if it had come out at the beginning of October, it would have hit almost perfectly for us.
Yeah.
But instead,
don't beat yourself up about it.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up about it. You were either tired, drunk, or just being too scared. It's fine.
Never was I once too scared to push forward. We never ended a session where I was like, I can't do this. I'm too scared. We always ended the session. It was like, I am fucking 3 buzzballs in right now, and I need a break. Or holy shit, I just got off of basically 10 hours, and I'm running on 3 hours of sleep. I need to stop.
Yeah. So what do you think? Give us some thoughts.
Okay, so Maria. I'm just going to jump straight into it. I'm going to be eclectic as fuck. I don't have a great way of putting my thoughts on. So I'm just going to go shotgun here. Maria is a manifestation of our guilt / what's the other emotion? It's
remorse?
Not remorse. It's guilt and grief.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Marie is that manifestation, and she is essentially going about in a way to help us try and get us to cope with the loss of our wife, and Mary had, it looked like almost leprosy or something, but I don't know if it was. I don't know if everyone has decided what Mary had, but I mean, it was a terrible fucking sickness.
I think I remember looking it up after I was done because I was just like, it's like my brain was like, "Are we a Silent Hill fan now?" I was like, "I'm a Silent Hill 2 fan right now, so I'm gonna look up Silent Hill 2 information." And I think nobody could narrow it down and or get an actual explanation out of the directors or anything like that. But
so the directors never.
I can't remember. But what I think people narrowed it down to was she really loved going out to that lake, and that lake is not a good lake. All the dead bodies in there, that's probably not good water.
Yeah.
At all. I don't remember seeing fish running around.
It almost looked like a flesh-eating bacteria, which, like, honestly, if you get a flesh-eating bacteria, if you don't catch it in time, it's just, doctors are like,
yeah, it's everywhere now.
We're just moving to palliative care. We're going to hook you up to it with as much morphine and codeine that you want, and, oh, you're going to OD on it? Well, it's that or die from the things eating you inside, literally.
Yep.
So
I think that's what they said, is that she caught something because she loved going out there. But then again, you have to be like, well, they had a hotel out there. Obviously, there was people out there, so it's like she must have just been playing around in the water just a bit more than anybody else. That's what people think, because there's something wrong with that water.
Well, there's something wrong with that entire fucking town.
Yep, cultists and executioners roaming around and all manner of things. Yeah, so what happened was, in the original, in the game, original or otherwise, she gets the leave from the doctor, being like, "Hey, you can go home again." Mm-hmm. And James always comes there, so he's always prepared for it to happen. Yeah, that he's going to go see her in that stage. She shows up there. Yeah, at his home, and he just snaps at that point.
Well, I wouldn't say he snaps. I think
he just can't take it anymore.
No. The ending. The ending that I got, where it shows her disfigured and just absolutely riddled by the disease that she has, is that she's having him agree to end her suffering on her terms by the suffocation. And then that's where he's crying. Excuse me. That's what I was getting, is that she's saying, is like, hey, you don't. That's what I was getting from that section, where he was sitting next to her on the bed and she was, dying. And is like, she was
that
in that scene, she's telling him, like, hey, I don't want to keep living like this. I want to go out right now.
Him talking to her, that happened in the present.
Yeah.
It sort of looked like it was the past. No, that was the present. That was her spirit or whatever body being brought back to life by the hills or whatever. And she was about to die. So she was just trying to tell him, like, it's okay. I'm dead. I'm dying. Don't worry about it. That's why James had to be like, that's why she was like, no, I know you did it because you wanted to see me stop suffering. And he was like, that's not why I did it.
Yeah.
Because in the original game, if you go look it up, how the cutscenes frame it, James is a lot more worse of a person for doing it.
Yeah.
This, like, if they didn't have that scene, and it's just one scene, but if they didn't have that scene where he was just like, that's not why I killed you, because I hated you. Yeah. And I wanted my life back. If that didn't happen, you would have been like, oh, poor James. Poor Maria, poor James.
I mean, it's a little bit of...
He did that to end her suffering. It's like, no, he did that because he was just done with it.
But you can have multi-facets there where you have...
He's a bad person, but he's not the worst person.
He's not a good person for doing that in the first place. He's literally killing his wife. But you can... And I'm not saying it's justified at all, but there is a little bit of the thing where it's like, she understands where it's coming from. Is like, yes,
after it happened,
she wants him to kill her, but she knows that he still loves her, but the things that she's putting him through are just hurtful, are hurting him. And she's not the only one suffering with that disease, but she's okay. She wants him to kill her, and even though it's going to be very rough, it's going to rack him.
Yeah, no, I think she understood after she died.
Yeah,
because when she got brought back to Silent Hill, she got brought back to life.
Suicide, never a great option.
When she got brought back to Silent Hill, she was brought back to life, and then that's when she was just like, "Oh yeah, no,
I never thought that she got brought back to life.
Well, that's why you were talking to her, even in a sense. So what the thing was with Maria is, he did that, killed her, threw her in the back of his car, and because that would break a man, probably in that situation.
But no, I thought the chain of events was she comes home from the hospital on leave. She is obviously in the later stages, and that's where we got the scene of him sitting next to the bed, and they've agreed that he is going to kill her, and then she wants to be taken back to Silent Hill one last time.
Back it up, and where did you hear that part? They were agreeing that he should kill her. Where's that part?
The part of where she is talking to him on the side of the bed saying, "It's okay. I understand. I forgive you." I'm not saying someone came right out and said those things. I'm saying that's how I was interpreting that conversation of where it started and why it went where it did.
You mean that scene at the very end where they were sitting next to each other in the bed and she handed him the letter?
Yes.
That happened not in the past. That happened after you beat Maria's boss fight. You got shown that because her spirit was there and her body was there because it was Maria, whatever. And that was just, she brought that scene about. That's why when she saw, that's why in all the other memories before that, she was like, James, I'm going to die. Or it's like she was either angry at him or I don't want to die. That's why when you run through that thing, she's already been through all that. She's died. She sees what this is doing to James. That's why she looked at him. She's like, hey, handsome.
Like in the letter itself.
Handsome.
In the letter itself, she was prepared. She's saying like
she was prepared to die, but she wasn't prepared to be killed.
When she first got the prognosis that is like she is a dead woman walking.
That's
she
when
was
that
angry.
hallway. That's when that hallway scene happened.
She was angry. She was livid. She struck out at everyone, and inadvertently she started striking out at James the most. And the worst, he caught the worst of it being the husband because she was not ready to die. I studied this shit in school with geriatric psychology. It's like, no. When you get people in those kind of stages of their life, where it's like you are, like, especially entering palliative care situations, you are not expecting them to take it well. No, almost like you get maybe 1 out of 1,000 people that are going to understand that and take it well. Majority of the time, 999 times out of 1,000, they're all going to just be mad and livid. But as it goes on, as they start to live with the idea that is like, no, I'm dying. I am going to die. I'm not going to live to 100 years old. I'm going to die early or something. It takes months and it will sometimes take years, but they get used to it and they start going down that path of forgiveness. But at the beginning, you can start being like vile to people around you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what that scene was in the hallway when you were walking down. You heard it. That was her after getting the prognosis, lashing out, anger, and then going into depression and all that jazz from it. But that scene, that's why when you were just going through all the ending scenes, that's why you saw at least 3 different ways that he got the letter. One was it was just in the car because he brought it back with him, or he got the Maria ending and Maria just goes, oh, by the way, I have the letter. And then there's the one that you got where he had that moment where he was able to talk to regular Mary, and then regular Mary just goes, here's the letter. All those scenes happened in the present. That she never agreed to be killed.
Yeah, okay.
She was prepared to die, but she was never, like, that's when you saw the scene when he was doing it. If you were prepared to die, like, if you were like, yeah, kill me, you wouldn't have struggled then when somebody was trying to kill you at that point. He smothered her. She's weak, so she couldn't actually fight. But you saw, if you look, she was flailing, trying to stop him. She grabbed her hands, couldn't because she was sick at that point. He was a normal-ass man, but yeah. So, sequence of events. She comes home, surprises James, hangs out for God knows how long, and that's when he was just like, I'm not doing this anymore. Kills her. After killing her, he immediately just wraps her in a bunch of blankets or whatever, scoops her up, throws her in the back of the truck or back of the car, and then mind breaks a little bit. I got this letter from Mary. Go to Silent Hill. And he goes there, No, he goes there. He must have just had a sheet of paper on him, but he goes there to Silent Hill, goes into that bathroom. That's why he's just like, he just fucking killed somebody. He's looking at his hands because he's like, I fucking just killed somebody. And that's what his brain was just like, no, you got a letter from your wife who died 3 years ago. And he's like, oh yeah, here's this letter from 3 years ago. And then that's when the game starts. But that happens, and because that's why Laura knows her, because she was just here. Here? Where was she being treated again? Was it here?
At the near the there was like a
It wasn't the hospital.
it was some hospital. It wasn't this hospital. I don't believe it was the hospitals in Silent Hill.
It must have been the town next to it or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where her and Laura got to be known as friends, because they were just taking her there.
Yeah.
Taking care of her there is what I meant to say. And then he takes her there, and then it all starts. But yeah, she was dead. It's because the town is there for tormenting sinners.
Almost makes me wonder.
It brings back stuff that.
It almost makes me wonder because there is a room in the final hotel where it says nurses station. So I'm wondering, like, is that an actual vacate? I don't think it's a vacation hotel. I think it is a palliative care hotel.
It could be. My working theory is if the hotel water is, or not the hotel water, if the lake water is probably not the best, you would have a medical station of some kind in your hotel. At least a dedicated medical station. But it could be a palliative care hotel thing. But they were able to stay there
because, like, the
3 or 4 years ago, just
some
fine.
Some of those rooms were set up, it didn't seem like, no, we're not going to efficiently create. I don't know. It seemed less like a vacation type of hotel and more of this is a long-term stay kind of place where you're here and we're going to try and ease your life as much as possible because of what's happening.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Some of the endings, so like the still ending where he's saying like you're not really here and he's in the car and then it ends with him driving off into spoilers by the way. Driving off you hear him drive off into the lake was interesting to me, but then
that was the in-lake ending.
The in-lake ending. And then the still ending where she reaches across to him. That to me is saying like his mind. There's two ways to interpret that.
Yeah.
There's she has the prognosis that she's going to die, and this isn't what happened, but it's like she has the prognosis that she's going to die. She doesn't want to, so she's actually convinced James to kill both of them and just suicide by driving into the lake. But more what it is James killed her. She's in the backseat of the car, and his mind kind of breaks, and she's fine again. She's there. She's saying, we're here. We're together.
We'll be together soon.
We'll be together soon. You just need to meet me. And he's a lot... Like, in the in-lake ending, you can just see him going through the remorse. Like, he is... Like, the mocap is really well done because it looked... It's like... He's not happy with anything. He is exceptionally and extremely depressed, and he's going to end it. And it's like that's the face of suicide right there.
And then the still ending, they still turned it up another 30%.
They turn up another one because it's like, no. He is so besought with grief that Silent Hill's won, and he is like, I am going to just kill myself, but I'm not killing myself. I'm just going to go meet Mary. Mary's waiting for me. She's been waiting for me.
Yep.
What am I doing? I need to go meet her. Then drives off into the lake.
Yeah. Then there's the Marie ending's so fucking stupid as shit.
I really like...
You better get that cough checked out. I'm not even looking at her. Better get that shot.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, James.
That's
terrible.
Yeah. The end... Right before that fight where he goes up, embraces Maria...
Oh my God, I love that scene.
It's just, and then pushes her away. It's like, yes, there was that brief moment of weakness where it's like, no, he's so happy to see his Mary right there, because Maria again is not a real person, is an embodiment of his grief and his guilt right there, and it finally took the shape of Mary, when before it was just Maria, someone that looks like Mary but isn't Mary.
So what it is? I got sidetracked.
Him embracing and then finally being able to come to terms like, this isn't real.
This is not what I wanted.
You're not her. I need to fully accept that, because like at the end when after we did the pyramid head became obsolete, and all the mannequins, the nurses, the mimics, they all, or not, but
the Spitty Boys,
they all just keel over and die. It's like, there's nothing for us anymore. What are we doing here? He just pushes her away, and it's like, and it's the Silent Hill fighting back. It's like, you can't get rid of me that easily.
You can't get rid of your guilt that easily.
You can't get rid of your guilt, even though it's like, no. I am finally coming to terms with it. Because like, honestly, Silent Hill doesn't ever want you to get better. And it's the sad point with like Angela. I think Angela is just like another Silent Hill, but she never gets to leave.
She doesn't overcome what happened to her.
She's never able to
overcome. And he doesn't overcome it either, because he just dies.
Yeah.
No, what I was going to say was, so the thing with Maria is, because I mentioned it before, in the original game there was DLC for it. Don't ask me how PS2 does DLC. So after he does it, she is created in Silent Hill. You start the game as her in a building that you can run into in Silent Hill 2 regular and remake, but you don't go in there because you have Maria with it. She's like, if you try to walk up to it, if you go through the thing or whatever, and you have Maria with her, she's like, I don't want to go there. And he's like, what's wrong with this place? And she's like, please, James, I don't want to go up to that building, because it was where she was born.
Yeah.
And when she was born, she was just created. And she was like, why am I here? What the hell's going on? Why do I exist? What am I? Like, and eventually she looks around enough that she figures out about Mary and all that jazz. And then eventually you end that DLC after fucking around in Silent Hill for a bit. You end the DLC on the dock, and then you run into James at that point. And then she's just like, okay, I know why I'm here. I know what I'm supposed to be. I know what I'm supposed to do. And James just like, no, I don't want that. And she's like, but that's why I was created. That's why And he kept denying her at every turn, so that's why she kind of snaps after a while. But that's what she is. The town created her. That was the moment his grief and guilt were at his fucking max.
Yeah.
The second he did it. Because the town is supernatural.
Yeah. Yeah.
It will create that shit. It will make itself look different for each sinner. It'll create monsters specifically to chase after each sinner and fuck them up. That's what Pyramid Head and all those things were. And it will create things like Maria to also fuck with James.
Yeah. In terms of playing the game, I really like how I think we discussed this during one of the episodes, but like the guns truly did feel like a powerful resource to lean back on. But unless you were absolutely super conservative with your ammo, like I was pretty conservative with my ammo up until the prison. And then it's just like, no, there's just so much going on here. I need to stop just meleeing everything, stop relying on the steel pipe, stop relying on the board, and just start blasting.
Yeah, it's one of those games, and you never know if the game is like that until you play it. Unfortunately, It's not going to tell you the game manual or on the box or anything. But it is absolutely one of those games, and I think I might have mentioned it at like one of the first sessions or whatever, where I was like, they've programmed it well enough. It's okay to use all your fucking ammo, because you will not pick up a box that has 1 in it. If you're using all your ammo, you'll pick up a box and it'll go 5 bullets or 4 or 6 bullets.
I was worried because I had listened to
I get it.
But I had listened to a podcast where a guy had like he just has that OCD brain where it's like, oh, I'm going to pick up everything, and then why would I use? I have 9 health potions, but what if I need health potions? Like, you're at the very end of the game. Then he says that he's trying to not keep doing this, but he's like, he was playing the Silent Hill 2, and he was like, no, the combat was so good enough, and because of his brain goblins, he was like, no, I'm not gonna shoot anything. Where he went into the very last fight, where it was like, I've got 100 bullets. I was like, yeah, that would be something. It's like, yeah, you have 100 bullets, just start blasting. Whereas like halfway through, or like the very end of the hospital, and then going through the prison, the game I felt ramped up enough to appropriately, because like before that, it was throwing one. I mean, sometimes three on a very rare occasion. Where it's like, but it never felt overwhelming in terms of like, oh, I don't have what I don't need to rely on anything except my melee option for this encounter. It's not overwhelming me. Versus like in the Toluca prison, it's like, no, with how strong these things are and how just like the spiders being there, it's like they can drop down from anywhere. It's like, I don't want to spend 2 minutes meleeing this guy. I want him down and I want to leave.
Yeah, no, every like 4 or 5 encounters is a big encounter at the very like the first half of the game, because you say like, oh, I never warranted the excessive amount of force. I'm like, no, I remember that room that you walked into in the Otherworld hospital where you had 2 spiky bubblehead nurses and a regular nurse in there. You did not try to melee any of that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like
every and then every time there was a brawl or that one hallway where there was like a bunch of dead bodies, so one of them came up, turned back around, did a thing, come back through the hallway, hear a bunch of noises, all the bodies got back up. No, you did not want to melee at that point.
That's what I was saying. Is like halfway through, up until halfway through the hospital, and then fully into the Toluca prison. That's where I felt the game had escalated enough to where it's like, no. Stop trying to melee things. Stop trying to be conservative with your resources. Those are resources to be used, not resources to be hoarded. Versus like going through like the apartments. It's like there was not really anything in the apartments that warranted an all-out brawl fight, unless you go into a boss. It was like, okay, I'm going to expend some resources in a boss fight. Other than that, I played almost all the way through the entire apartments, whereas I was just relying on, I was like, I got the stick, I'm gonna fucking hit them with this stick.
Yeah, and I think at one point you had like 60 bullets, and I was just like, eventually he's gonna use this handgun.
And yeah, eventually I started just. By the time I got into the labyrinth, we had went from like almost 70 bullets down to like I'm like skirting around 20.
Yeah, I was about to say 20.
And it was like I got through that because of the prison, because of the Toluca prison. It was like, God damn. James needs to stop jumping down holes.
Okay, so let's since you already talked about Mary and Maria, let's talk about a few of the other key players. So how did you feel about all the other key players? How'd you like Angela?
Angela,
sad story, right?
Exceptionally sad story, and I feel like Angela is like you don't want to say that she just needs to get better, but this is just a really hard topic to go around because she is like through and through, she is the victim of horrible things. But she has a victim complex where she's refusing, and that's why she's in Silent Hill, is that she's refusing to move past it. And for a long time, it's kind of mirroring what James is feeling, where James doesn't want to get past his traumatic events.
Yep.
But Angela is representative of what you will become and who you will become if you never move past those things.
I'm glad I didn't have to point that out, because on the exact opposite side of the spectrum,
we
have Eddie.
God.
What did you think about Eddie? Eddie and that part of James's brain.
Fully committed to being like, he's also a victim complex.
Yep. But a different flavor.
A completely other side of that coin, but it's still the victim complex.
He kept making fun of me.
It's never my fault. It's
not me. He made fun of me. That stupid dog, he was rabid. I shot him.
And for James, and it's interesting because of how long it took to fight Eddie as a boss fight and see Angela's ending. It wasn't up until he did those where it felt like, like when we finally defeat Eddie in those in the meat locker, it's James is done saying it was none of it was my fault. He was saying like, no, some of it was my fault.
This might have been my fault.
I have to take responsibility for the things that were my fault because I did them. Yep. I have to fully accept the fact that I am not innocent in all this. There are things that were of my choice that happened because of how I chose to do them.
Yep.
And then on that same coin, seeing the ending of Angela, as horrible as that is like, I need to move past this. I need to get past my guilt. I need to get past these horrible things that happened to me. Mm-hmm. Just because I'm moving past them doesn't mean I'm not giving them as much respect as they deserve or as much reverence or I'm not giving weight to them, but I still have to keep moving. I have to live past this point.
Okay.
And I'm still trying to figure out what Laura means.
No, Laura,
I don't quite understand.
Laura was just there. She's summoned by Silent Hill. It's like I kind of got the feeling like she just kind of wandered here from wherever the other town was. There's
got to be maybe so. If someone smarter than me is in the comments, which there probably are, please tell me what does Laura represent? Eddie represents saying nothing was my fault. Angela unfortunately represents everything. I am going to
not moving past
my
pain.
My trauma is who I am.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Laura was just. I think Laura, because those are two aspects of pain. I think Laura is like the same coin, other side of it though, and it's about the fun times that they did have.
We're now a 3-sided coin.
Yeah. No, I'm saying one side of the coin is split in half. Eddie, Angela, and the other side is just Laura / Mary.
Yeah.
Or Laura / Maria, because they're both about good times and all that stuff. So, did you think Pyramid Head lived up to what you've heard about Pyramid Head?
No. No, I think Pyramid Head, because of how long I've been hearing about Pyramid Head.
You were plenty scared. Where are you going with this?
But with the way that the ultimate fight happened, I was expecting I guess I was expecting more from Pyramid Head than what was actually in the game.
I think for some odd reason, because you were playing it and I was watching it, I don't know why, but your fucking iframes at hitbox was so fucking wonky in that thing. There were so many times where you got impaled and it just didn't hit you. And I was like...
In the final fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, why?
There were some real close calls in that final fight.
But there's times where it's just like, I dodged, and it's like, you duck, and then you have to straighten out because you dodged, and you got hit in that.
Oh, I saw those spears go through my body a few times.
I was like, he's not... So, 86, the final fight. Before that, all the times you had to deal with Pyramid Head, you were afraid every time he showed up.
There were some really interesting sections with the Pyramid Head fight, but I think it was, I've been hearing about other people's experiences with Pyramid Head so much more and how terrifying. I was expecting him to actually chase us more than just that time in the hallway with Maria.
Well, that's the thing.
No, but that said, I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad Pyramid Head didn't turn into that. He didn't turn into a Mr. X.
I like the fact that, and it's going back to what our conversation was about the SAX. I think both games do what they're supposed to do the first time. They hit a little bit different for you because I was riding shotgun and I was kind of like being a little shit about being the co-streamer where I was kind of like, I don't want to say burying the hatchet, but I was unearthing or leading the goose or whatever the stupid phrase is, where I was kind of like hinting a little bit at it's like, hey, by the way, it's kind of scripted.
Yeah.
But if you go through that the very first time, like I did, I was like, okay, I know he's not a Mr. X, but I'm like, every time he showed up, I was never prepared for it. And it always surprised me and shocked me. Like, like they said, the very first time you do it, this thing makes noise whenever I'm near something. Cool. I told you, I could not describe how much I almost shit my pants. It was like, noise. Okay, there's a thing. Noise. There's a thing. Cool. Go around the corner. Okay, this thing's going off. There must be another thing. damn, it's getting really loud. It's getting fucking shit. What the hell? And then I see him lit by a red light behind a bar grate. And I was like, oh. I just started squeezing over to that door. I was like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I don't want to be here anymore. I'm sorry for complaining about the noise. Make all the noise you want.
I think the thing that I was expecting to happen was that you get to a section and Pyramid Head chases you out of it.
Well, you did.
But like the ending of the apartments, you have a brief fight with Pyramid Head, and it's weird because there's Pyramid Head with the sword, and then there's Pyramid Head with the spears. And I think those are two different types of Pyramid Head.
I think it's the same Pyramid Head. There's just also a second Pyramid Head. But he didn't bring the cleaver for that. He probably didn't bring the cleaver for that because he couldn't find it after you left it off somewhere.
If you look at it, the Pyramid Head that was using the cleaver that we see through most of the game until the very end of the labyrinth, his Pyramid Head is complete sheet metal. All the way is cast iron metal on both sides. Versus the ones with the spears, it's the skeleton that is the bolted metal, but then the sides of them, the faces of the pyramids, are like rounded and kind of fleshy.
I think it was just more rusty. But regardless,
it looked like there were two designs to the Pyramid Head.
Regardless, the Pyramid Head was supposed to be just a manifestation of what James was and what James did. That was James. That's why he was messing up all the fucking mannequins.
Yeah.
That's why he was hounding James, because that was, again, as he created Maria, as Silent Hill created Maria, they also created James, because they were like, this is the person that you did it to, and we're going to bring him back and with you that way. And then here's also all those anger and emotions that you had about doing the thing that led you to the thing. We're going to create a guy like that, and that's what Pyramid Head is. Yeah, no, they had that one section where they had his room and he was chasing you around through the underground things a little bit to a degree. Yeah, no, it's just, I'm not going to say he's the best thing, but I can see why people love Pyramid Head.
I could see him on a top 25 list. I like I could
him.
see why he would be on people's top 10s.
I feel like he is more menacing. This is going to sound stupid. I feel like he would be more terrifying and more menacing if I was, playing against him in Dead by Daylight. Because I feel like his moveset would be a lot more intense.
I guess I was just expecting him to have a much more active role in the gameplay and not just as a bookend of like...
But how would that make you feel if he showed up a lot more often, whereas they were just saving him for the moment?
I think eventually it wouldn't have made the dual Pyramid Head fight hit as hard if you had been fighting him more than just those handful of times. And like honestly, when you fought him those handful of times, it never felt like you defeated him.
He just more left.
Like he just like
he was just like, eh.
He had something better to do.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're here? I'm gonna fuck you up, James. It's like, shit.
I got my 7 o'clock.
It's 2 o'clock already. Fuck. Well, I'll be back.
And he's like, don't stop feeling terrible about that thing you can't remember why you did.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I liked him. I think he's pretty good. I give him like a 7 out of 10 for like horror game.
Yeah,
game thing.
I think 7 is right about where I would also land on the Pyramid Head.
Like if I saw Pyramid Head in any other media after playing this game, I'm gonna be hyped when I see him.
You haven't seen the Silent Hill movies, have you?
I'm a Silent Hill 2 fan so far. That's it.
The first movie? The second movie? The third movie that's coming out? I don't know how I feel about it.
Still making movies?
Why? It has been almost a decade since the last Silent Hill movie.
Why?
The Silent Hill 2 kind of how like Resident Evil movies loosely were around the video games until they weren't. I feel like that's Silent Hill movies.
Okay, and then now I think that's everybody besides going over the minor creatures, which doesn't feel like I need to talk about it. Besides, what do you think about your boy, James Sunderland? How do you think he was characterized? How do you like the actor? Do you want to go pat him on the back on Twitter saying good job on that mocap? I think I was blown away. I was like, Dan, I can't believe I hate a guy who murdered his wife.
Yeah. No. It's they did a really good job getting the emotions across in that. I think whatever studio they had that had done the mocap, Bloober Team did just an amazing job getting that through. And just like every time that you were saying is like, just look at his face as he reaches into this wall. Look at him as he's
about
like
to jump in the
jumping
hole.
into this hole. It's like you can tell it's like everything about his body is like, I don't want to be doing this. You're making me do this. I don't want to be doing this.
It almost makes you feel like it's like, yo, no, they gave him the whole mocap mask and the mocap suit, and they were just like, okay, so blah blah blah. Whoever the actor was, like, you're looking at a hole, you can't see the bottom,
Yeah,
and we're gonna make the player tell you to jump down it 3 times. So we need you 3 takes of you not wanting to jump down this hole.
You don't know if this hole is 5 feet deep and it's just dark down there, or 500 feet deep.
And he just goes up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've played many a video game, and I've played a wide variety of video games, and I love the fact that I did. And there's so many times where I go through a narrative, and I'm like, we try to get our emotions out by having all of this extensive, comprehensive dialogue. And I'm like, James is saying barely shit, and I am drinking every emotion that he is spraying off his face, and you're over here going, here's this 4-page verbose thing to let you know how guilty this man feels about doing this thing. And I'm like...
because of how they were able to capture the face and the body, it never felt like, oh, I'm missing a Hideo Kojima moment where James is now going to look into the camera and look at Laura and say, I killed Mary. I put the pillow over her face, and I felt so angry, and I felt so relieved at the same time, and I felt so disgusted with myself. And those nurses, I saw a few nurses. It's like you never had to sit through James' 45-minute monologuing of how he's feeling, the emotions he's feeling, why he's feeling them, the justification for why he's feeling them. Thank God.
I absolutely love that moment. It's like, where is she? And then it just does that thing where it just shows him, and he was just like, she's not here.
Yeah.
And it just pauses there, and he's just like,
less is more. And
she's not here.
That is
because I killed her.
That's the great thing.
And I fucking lost it. Where I was like, this absolute cinema. Absolute cinema.
For what? All right, so before he got sacked, before he got pushed out of Konami, Hideo Kojima was supposed to make Silent Hills.
Yes.
Norman Reedus starring Silent Hills. And then that didn't happen. After he released it, that was the PT.
Yep.
That was a trailer for Hideo Kojima making Silent Hills. And people were excited. People were really excited to have that happen. I am so glad that didn't happen. I still want to see Hideo Kojima make a horror game. Silent Hill or Death Stranding and Death Stranding 2, not a horror game.
Nope.
Have light horror aspects and elements, not a horror game. And he's making a horror game, which looks interesting. But I am worried that Kojima, kind of like David Cage or Tarantino, they're going to have writers upon writers, and they're not going to listen to those writers. And what they really need is Tarantino's editor. Because Tarantino, have you heard about this at all? Tarantino's editor.
Maybe refresh my memory.
Tarantino's editor is this lady who doesn't like Tarantino's work. Like, has gone on record saying, I don't like this kind of stuff. And she will edit and just slash. Like, the original cut of, like, Pulp Fiction is supposed to be, like, 6 hours long.
Ew. They shot 6 hours worth of a movie?
No. He wrote 6 hours.
I was about to say.
Then as they were shooting, she would just be slashing and burning and get into like hour-long fights with Tarantino. It was like, this doesn't need to be in. And Tarantino would be fighting. He's like, yes, it does. Yes, it does. You need the editors that are going to stick to their guns, saying, "Prove to me why this needs to be in. What point does this need to be in?" There doesn't need to be a fourth monologue. And I feel like Kojima is now, especially watching Death Stranding or going through Death Stranding, Kojima definitely feels like he needs an editor on staff that isn't going to be afraid and can't be fired for just telling him, "Why are you doing this? What does it serve? It doesn't need to be here." And unless you can prove the reason that it should be included, don't include it.
Yeah, I wonder who is his editor, because he has somebody. He has somebody.
Bloober Team didn't. I feel like Bloober Team didn't have that problem. And now, granted, they have a really good bones from the original Silent Hill.
Even then,
from Silent Hill 2.
Still, like they and I did look around, because after I was done playing, you're like, "Oh, the letter's different. Everybody was talking about it. Conveys different emotions." I was like, all right, you know what? I'm on a Silent Hill 2 kick. Let's go look up some Silent Hill 2 videos. Checked out some ending explains, some explanations how this and that works. Blah 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 blah. I did check out a couple things. They were like, check out. Like, they took the dialogue, but a lot of the times what they did was they just rearranged when they said things in a conversation.
Yeah.
Because, like, I watched the Angela conversation with James, and it was like, because I was like, I know how this conversation plays out. And it's like, this is how it played out in Silent Hill 2. And I was like, huh. It's the same words, but, like, Angela, oh, this is the part where Angela says these 3 sentences. And they just go, and then they're like, and this is how it flowed in the Silent Hill remake. And I was like, that's weird, because any of those conversations you have in Silent Hill 2 remake didn't sound weird. But now that I'm listening to what the conversation was before, and I was like, this does sound a bit weird when they say it in this order.
So I
think the dialogue is kind of the same.
I do want to find a way, and there should be a, from what I've heard, it's not a straightforward way, but there should be a way to get a good version of the original PS2 emulated. And I want to see how you play through that, because seeing the first instance being the remake, I wonder how you're going to take to the original.
I'll probably be doing a whole lot of running past things.
Probably.
And not fighting anymore.
Tank controls, baby.
Oh, I'll be fine. Tank controls are great, because I can just hold forward and I'll be running in that direction. But that'll be for next year, because we got tons of games to get through.
So much.
So many games.
Yeah.
Anything else we need to talk about? We talked about all the characters.
Gameplay feels good. Pacing feels good. It looks amazing. Some of those filters at the end were hilarious.
Hello, Erna.
It's
so the pacing did feel good, though. There wasn't like a.
It did stretch. I can see how people, because I heard
everything. Like, everything that was there was just stretched a bit.
It felt a little longer. The prison, I felt, took a little too long. The very ending in the hotel, the last dungeon there, I felt like it was maybe a little bit too long. The town felt good. The apartments were like on the verge of being too long. But then there was the first time that you saw the Otherworld flip and was like, oh my God, this is cool. When they do that in the hospital, it was like, maybe you could have just shortened a couple. But I don't like the it thing felt too long. But I was like, I don't know where you would be cutting.
No, that's the thing. That's okay. When you go back to how would you feel when you're playing through Silent Hill 2 original? It's like, actually, I'm gonna try to remind myself whenever you make me do that. I'm actually gonna be like, okay, so how did they extend this? I'm going to bet money not playing it at all. You didn't actually go into 90% of the rooms in every one of those locations.
Yeah.
That is the only way that I can think that they didn't cut it, that they cut it out, is that a lot of those doors were just locked.
And seeing those, and like, it's probably, you have less combat in, because that's one thing that I've
combat, I think it's the same as what people were saying. I think it's the same.
Spam.
I think it was about the same, but that's what I think that they would do, is they would just make it so you don't go into every single fucking room. You pretty much had to go into every single room, even if it was like, oh, the front door the front door has a do not disturb tag on it in the hotel. All right, I go. Okay, fine. I go around the outside where the window, the patio door is. That's covered in sheet metal, or the curtain is drawn. Okay. Then I go to the room next to it, and it's like, then there's a hole there. It's like, so I do have to go into this room.
Yeah.
Whether it was because there was loot in there, or because you actually had to go in there, stuff was moved around.
And I feel like you don't need necessarily a very large, expansive, and open map for a good horror game.
I think the town map was the right size.
The
That's
town
where I
map
want
was
the
the
big part.
right size.
That's where I want the big
You're running past a lot of buildings, and like you go into 2 of them. It's like that's great. That's great. The hospital, I just felt like you have so many open doors in the hospital that like halfway through the hospital, like especially when we went into the other world,
Yeah,
it was
you
like
go up in the regular world, and then you have to go down in the other world.
yeah. I'm just like, okay, this is just it's verging on the point of overwhelming with how many rooms they're expecting you to go into, and if you're not, then like it's nagging in the back of your head. It's like, if I don't go into these rooms and search everything, I'm not going to get the resources I need to deal with the other things, and it's going to that I felt.
I think that would be the only way that it's like, oh, why is this a
make it
6-hour game in the original, and why
linear.
is it now a 12-hour game? It's like that's pretty much. And that's what I'm guessing without having played it. Is that's what they are going to do. Is just you don't go into every single room. The puzzles are moved around a little bit differently. How'd you think of the puzzles? To me, they were just right.
Puzzles were pretty straightforward.
They were just right.
I would be interested.
Some are a little complicated, but not all of them.
I'd be interested. All right, the 3 figurines at the very end. I was expecting that to be like, okay, I got to take the first number, and then add the second number, or like by the way it's worded, it was just the last number that they said.
That's the right kind of puzzle where it's like, I want it to seem like it's complicated, but it also kind of should just be straightforward.
If I go back through and do a New Game Plus runs at all, I'd be interested in turning the puzzle difficulty up.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in nothing about the combat was like, oh, there's depth to this combat. It's like this combat.
There's things in your way.
I don't need things to be spongier.
Yeah. That is the combat in the game is just there's things in your way, and sometimes they'll put those things that are in your way while you're trying to solve a puzzle.
Yeah.
That's a horror game. That's horror game 101.
I'd be very interested in the puzzle, seeing what that looks like on the lowest difficulty of just how hand-holdy. Like, is this the square block goes in the square hole?
I think the best example of how that would work, and it's not for every single thing, but the best one I found was the moth puzzle. The moth puzzle is the one I think you're thinking of where you're like, oh, you got to do calculus or whatever. Moth puzzle on normal was check the moths and check the wings on the moth, and then you do the thing or whatever. I believe on easy, it's just like, how many number of these moths did you find?
Oh, God.
And then you turn it up to whatever, and then it's like, okay, count the wings, plus this, multiply this, divide by this, and then get this number. And you're like, that's cool.
How are the moths placed? And it's like, you have to like decode. It's like, if this moth means that it's an addition. This moth means it's division.
Yeah,
that's this moth is exponents and parentheses. You're like, oh, fuck.
Point of the explanation being there's a huge disparity between easy, normal, and hard.
And that's what I'm saying. Like on New Game Plus, I would love to just like crank the difficulty on the puzzles all the way to the bottom. You're like, how brain dead is this? And then crank it all the way to top. It was like, how moon logic does it get? Puzzles we did, combat we did, characters we did. My final thoughts, if you're ready for that.
I mean, do you have anything else to say about all the multitudes of endings? They're all pretty cool, though, right?
They're all interesting. Again, like not having gone through New Game Plus and seeing the extra items that you pick up, it is interesting that you have to pick up different items and just hold them. I was expecting a lot more. Like after playing through Resident Evil 1, which I'm kind of sad that I didn't do an LP of that for the channel, but playing through Resident Evil 1 and being like, you have a lever. When am I going to... In 3 hours. I was surprised that I didn't run into that with Silent Hill 2.
Well, yeah, because it's not about inventory management in Silent Hill 2. It's about suffering.
No. Not inventory management. Just like, oh, I picked up this key. Well, I picked this key up in the town. Well, now you're going to be using that key in the prison. I was kind of expecting that to happen, Where it's like, oh, I'm going to be picking up this random item that I'm going to use in 10 hours.
Yeah, none of that. But they wouldn't do that because you don't have an inventory management system. You can just pick up everything.
Yeah.
At Resident Evil, they got away with that because you only had so much space. You had so much space that you could hold on to something. And again, you saw it when we were playing through it. You were just like, I don't know if this is going to be something I need in the next 2 rooms, or I'm picking a building away from where I need it.
Yeah.
It's just not something you do in Silent Hill from what I've seen. Okay, final thoughts, though.
Final thoughts? Great 8 out of 10. I think it's an 8 out of 10. A few of the combat sections did feel a little like, it's not necessarily the nurses, but some of the bosses felt to the point where it's like, that double slash feels a little cheap. That double slash feels like you're stun locking me, and that is a great way. Like, if you didn't go into that combo that they're going to throw at you with full health, well, that's just you're gonna die, and you're gonna do the boss fight over again. Some of those felt a little cheap. That's where I'm taking a little bit of points off. Mm-hmm. The characters, I mean, that just makes it sore. Fuck Eddie. Every single time that I saw and we had to interact with Eddie, I'm just like, everything about this character makes my skin crawl. Everything about it.
He was just yelling at me. He was making fun of me. It's like, so you shot him. It's like, I saw that look in his eye. He was making fun of me when he was looking at me. It's like, so he didn't say anything, Eddie? You just shot him?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but like, just kidding, James. Got you. And you're just like, I don't like this guy.
But also, like, the weird awkwardness that you get sometimes with Maria, where she's like, oh, I'm very suave, I'm being very sexy, seductive. But then it's like, oh, you stepped too far. You stepped just too far. Like in when we're in the bar, in the strip lounge with her, she takes one step too far, and then you just see like this wash of just like shame, and this wash of like, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. Like when she pours the drink, he's like, I don't want this. And James is like, I don't want this at all. And you see that, and then you see Maria ever since then, you're like, I can't push too hard with him. And it's like, that's Silent Hill, that's the town being like, we have to be a little bit more tactful with how we're going to be tormenting him.
Yeah, there's a sweet spot for tormenting him.
Yeah.
Because
if we push too far,
for the town,
he's going to completely shut down, and then we don't get anything.
Yeah, it's like if he breaks, we're done.
Yeah,
that their sweet spot is when they're right there.
Yeah,
and that's where they have to stay.
And I think they found that right in the hospital, where it's like, oh, she's feeling faint, so he's going to be carrying. Is like, oh hey, and now we didn't go back and check on her, but it was like, that's where I think Silent Hill finally is like, this is where we find the sweet spot, and this is where we're going to keep him in for the point forward.
Yeah,
great 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
8 out of 10.
I think I agree. I gave it an 8 out of 10. The only thing that was rough about it was like, if I wasn't so flush with recovery items, because like after a while, like,
holy shit, yeah, no, I got way too many. After a point, I almost wanted the game to be like, oh, you have 10 health drinks, you're never finding another health drink.
Or it, yeah, because it's like, oh, because you have the inverse of it where it's like, oh, you have 37 bullets, time to throw enemies at you. It's like, can you throw something at me that also makes me expend my energy drinks too? Because, you know, I might not get hit in a fight, but now apparently Silent Hill 1 was also the same kind of thing. I saw a friend on a different server that, like, after me talking about this thing, he was like, I'm going to go through Silent Hill 1 because I never went through it. And he was like, right before he went into the final fight of Silent Hill 1, he was like, takes a picture of his inventory, posts on the server, and he's like, yeah, I got like 47 health drinks and 27 med kits, so yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because like after a certain point, I was still on the edge of my seat for the prison. I think it was by the time I got to the labyrinth that it actually dawned on me that I had like 37 health drinks and 29 syringes, that I was like, okay, if I get into a fight, I'm not really going to sweat about it. I'm not going to sweat about it anymore.
I don't have to worry about this because I know I will win the battle of attrition.
Yeah.
And that's where too many health drinks,
so I started immersing myself. What it is like after that, I stopped immersing myself in the horror, in the fear of combat. I just started focusing on
everything else. I was like, I'm going to immerse myself in all the other fear around me.
I think you saw me kind of take that mindset when I was in the prison where it was like, oh, aren't you going to loot this room? Like, I don't fucking need it. I don't need to scrape every single cell here.
Yeah, you went to the shower. You were like, I don't feel like looking through everything in the shower.
It's like if I was like if I had like 2 health drinks, a syringe, and a handful of bullets between 3 guns, like, yeah, I'm gonna spend the time because I have to. But like I was going in there with like 30 something ways to heal myself to Sunday, still a full carton of shells, a handful of bullets, and a fistful of rifle ammunition. I'm like, I don't have to spend time here because nothing is threatening me. And if something does threaten me, I'll just be able to heal myself back to normal and barely take a hit.
Yep.
On my resources. Like,
I think, I was like, I gave it a little points off of the combat. It was never like, to me, the combat was never that boring kind of repetitive. Thankfully for me, it never hit that dodge, shoot, punch, dodge, shoot, whatever kind of like repetitive motion thing. Thankfully, every encounter you run into was like varied slightly enough that I was like, the combat is okay. It's not bland, but it is serviceable. And in a horror game, it really shouldn't be the focus. Cough, Silent Hill F. It shouldn't be the focus. It should just be something that you have to do, like you're fighting. You have literally an option for the player to fight to not die.
But at the same time, I would say that you still need serviceable combat.
Yeah,
because if you're going to
that's what it is. It was
if you're going to add combat into the game, it needs to be serviceable. Where if you're going to be interacting in the combat, if that combat feels bad, you're going to hate it, and that's going to make the entire horror game. Doesn't matter if there if the combat was bad in this game, if guns felt bad used and the melee just felt ineffective and just horrible, all the amazing voice acting, all the amazing facial animation there wouldn't have meant shit to me because I would be fighting tooth and nail against just scraping my head against the combat, and I would have hated every second of it.
Yeah, if they want to get this to a 9 out of 10, I only have one suggestion that would fix every complaint I had about the combat. Nerf the dodge. I still want to dodge, but like make it so I only have 2 or 3 frames of invincibility, not 10. I don't need 10 frames of invincibility. There were so many times.
Yeah.
So many times.
There were a few times.
And it's a damn good lunge, too.
Maria's fight, I took a few hits because, again, she just has those combos. Mm-hmm. The Pyramid Head fights, like, you should have been impaled. I should have taken like 20 hits.
Yeah.
I honestly should have taken 20 hits.
But there was also just so many other fights with plenty of the lesser monsters where I was like, yo, you have too many health drinks? Like, yeah, because I wasn't getting hit. I don't know. PC mod the game, nerf the dodge. Nerf the dodge down like 4 frames or something like that where you're actually invincible.
You never want to have to take that upon yourself. You want the game to ship that way to you.
It's fine. I'm just saying, it doesn't stop it from being an 8. It's like if this was a fucking 6 out of 10 game and they want an extra point, sure, but like it's an 8 out of 10 point. They don't need to be a 9 out of 10. They don't. And
maybe they do that if you up the difficulty of the combat.
Maybe
they shorten your dodge. I can see that.
But you don't have a dodge. I was like about to say if you had a dodge in the 1990s or whatever this game came out, you don't. But if you did, that dodge would just be shitty.
You can do footsies.
You can do footsies where you just gotta just like you did in Resident Evil 1. You gotta juke around them.
You step forward and you do a half step forward. They start lunging, and then you immediately start backing up. You play footsies, and then as they're in their swing animation, you can bolt around them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no dodge.
Yeah, no, that was good. Yeah, no.
I would recommend if you're into some. I don't know, like Silent Hill doesn't like this. Never. It definitely has some scary parts and some tense parts. But the way that they're telling a story and the way that they're talking about it, I think it was the lack of jump scares in this game that don't make me think of it as a traditional horror game.
Compared to Resident Evil, this one for me scared the pants out of me because it was a psychologically horror game.
Yeah,
I was immersing myself and all the themes and the shit that was going on, and that was scaring me because it was that kind of stuff that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
It is the difference between watching The Shining and watching Saw.
Yep.
Or Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah. Okay.
It was fantastic, though. I would recommend this game to a lot of people.
Yep. All right, that's the post game talk.